Hi, Dick.
Hi there, Stuart.
Looking forward to hearing you speak at the Croydon PIN on Wednesday the 16th.
Yeah, so am I. I'm looking forward to speaking.
Okay,
Cheers.
great. So one of the things we're thinking about is obviously the point of getting property is to make profits, and so one of the things that can be tricky in identifying properties is when you see a deal on Rightmove, how much it's going to cost and what it's going to be worth at the end, because that's ultimately the point of doing a refurbishment. So I was wondering how you go about working out what the cost of something, getting the work done, and what the final value would be. For example, maybe doing a title split property.
Okay, yeah, that's a good question because you talk about Rightmove and you're talking about the end values, and so what the way we would start, because you can spend an awful lot of time looking at deals, and in the end you do all the sort of calculations and it just doesn't stack up. So to shortcut that is an initial take on the costings. What we would do, so for instance, if we found something on Rightmove, we looked at the layout of the property and we might be able to split it, maybe able to add additional rooms. And what we would do is that we would say, right, we would start at the end value of those, however we could, let's say we were going to split a single dwelling into 3 flats. And then we would say, okay, if we could split it into 3 flats, what would those 3, would there be 3 1-bedrooms, would there be 3 2-bedrooms, would there be a 2 and a 1, or whatever it was, and then we'd work out an estimated end value of that whole project. We would then take our margin, and we want to work with a margin of 20% and above for our margin. So we would take that margin off the end value, and then we would start taking off for the likely costs, i.e. the stamp duty, the selling costs, and then we would gradually boil it down to a figure that we could afford to spend on that property. And if we then come up with a figure that's got plenty of meat on it, we can say, right, well now we know that we've got 200,000 that we can spend, or it might be 100,000 that we can spend. Can we do the work for that? And that sounds like a bit of a back to front way of doing it. But for instance, if we do that, the initial exercise, and we suddenly finish up, we've got £25,000 left to spend on it, are we going to convert a single dwelling into 3 with £25,000? No, we're not. So we automatically say that's not going to work. We're not going to make a margin. Could we consider working for less margin? Yeah, you could do that, and you could do the exercise again. So you could say, well, if we only were prepared to work for 10%, could it work? But you soon get into the habit of being able to assess a deal and say there's not enough money in it to be able to go through the cost of an X, Y, Z or type of a flat. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes to say, no, that's just not a deal.
That's a great way of looking at it. Thank you for sharing that with us, and I look forward to hearing more about that on the Wednesday the 16th of November at the Croydon PIN.
Okay.
Thank you.
Me too. Cheers.